Hello, I'm Alisa Burke, Physical Activity Lead at Pennybrawn UK. I'm a personal trainer and wellness coach and qualified to work with people with a cancer diagnosis and about 20 other medical conditions. In today's session, we're going to do about 30 to 35 minutes of muscle strength exercises to really target all the main whole body muscle groups. Doing so is a really good way to help improve your cancer outcomes, your health in general, how you feel, and minimise the side effects from treatment. Today's session is aimed at an intermediate level, so please take care of yourselves, build up in steps your activity. Maybe today you might want to just try out a few of the exercises and build up how many you do over the coming weeks. Make sure you have checked with your doctor before going back to exercise or making any significant increase or change in your level or type of physical activity, and listen to their advice. Please don't do anything that might cause any adverse reactions, or if you do try something today that doesn't feel right or causes any pain, please stop and seek some advice. You're going to need to wear some comfortable clothing, make sure you've got a nice flat surface, you're not going to knock into anything, and maybe have some water to hand. We will be using either a resistance band like these TheraBands, or maybe some small weights, or even homemade weights. So have a look in your kitchen cupboards and see what you can find. Or that's totally optional. The whole routine will work quite well without any equipment at all, and you can just imagine you're working against resistance. It would be helpful to have a chair, especially if you need a little bit of extra help with balance, so please make sure you exercise safely. When you're ready to start, we're going to bring ourselves to a nice upright standing position, open up the shoulders, gently squeeze in the tummy. Maybe take a couple of breaths to bring your awareness to how your body's feeling today. Ground the feet into the floor. And when you're ready, we're going to start moving into a very gentle march. So this is the start of our warm-up. Especially if the body's cold or you've been sitting a lot, it's really important to gradually warm up the body and joints, get the heart rate moving, the lungs working a little harder before you start doing any sort of moderate or intense effort. So we're going to move through about 6 minutes of warm-up exercises, making sure that the intensity feels light to you. So an effort level about 5 to 6 out of 10, or a level where you could keep talking to someone if they were in the room with you. We're going to move into side steps. So when you're ready, soften the knees and stepping sideways, keeping your feet flat on the floor. And we can bring in these arm raises in time with the legs, or maybe slowing it down if that works better for you. Keeping the chest open, nice tall spine. And this is just waking up their shoulders. And again, continuing to pick up the heart rate a little and warm up the body. Next, we'll move into heel digs. So bringing the arms back down, and when you're ready, just tapping the heels in front of you, maybe bringing in a little knee bend if that feels okay, and curling those hands up towards the shoulders. Trying to keep everything tracking forwards, legs stay parallel if possible. And get ready to switch. We're going to do tap backs. It takes a bit more balance, so do hold on to something if you need. We're going to step and reach back with the leg, stretching the hands in the opposite direction. So if possible, the arms are aligning with the legs. Nice deep breaths. You'll start to feel those shoulder muscles working. Last 2, 1, and we're going to what we call half jacks, like half of a jumping jack. So one side at a time, back to that nice tapping rhythm. Taking some deep breaths. And again, we're going to switch. Hands go onto hips to start with. Again, hold on if you need. We're going to be curling the leg back. Heel goes towards the butt to start waking up the muscles down the back of the legs and stretching out the thighs a little. If you feel fairly balanced, it can help by taking your feet nice and wide. You could bring in some arm movements to start opening up the chest. Keeping the shoulders down, easing back those elbows just behind the midline. Three more. 2, 1, and let's just bring the legs still a moment. Chance to catch your breath, and let's just mobilise the neck muscles by doing some head rolls. Taking the head from one side to the other, dropping the chin round to the front. We're not going to tip the head backwards. Enjoying feeling that stretch move around the neck. When you next get back to where you started, bringing the head right on top of the spine and going into some nice sweeping arm circles. You can take the arms a bit wider to the side if it's uncomfortable to reach overhead or that range of movement's restricted. Please don't force anything or cause any pain. Big breaths and reverse direction. Bring the hands onto the hips. We're now circling the hips 3 times each direction. Really just seeing how the hips feel, exploring the different parts of those circles. Like you're just moving the pelvis in a circular direction. And now we change direction. And when you've done your 3, bring the legs back together. Feet flat, bend the knees, rest the hands, and circle those knees 3 times each direction to mobilise your ankles. So these kind of moving stretches and getting the body warm, aerobic type moves, really good things to do for a warm-up. And soon we're going to be heading for our strength exercises to really help maintain your muscle strength or build back muscle strength. So important for mental and physical health. So bringing yourself back up to upright. Last little moving stretch. We're going to take the legs wide, outside of the feet, parallel like train tracks. Tall back, very gently to start with. We're just going to ease the hip to one side and then the other. As you progress with these, you might be able to take them a little bit deeper, taking the hips over to the side, back slightly down towards the floor, feeling that stretch down the inner leg muscles and waking up the muscles at the side of the butt. We'll make the next one the last one. Bring the body back to centre, wiggle the feet back, have a little shake out, have a sip of water. We'll consider that the end of your warm-up, and we're going to move on to our main strength part of today's session. So you won't need any equipment right away, but do have a little bit of water, have a band to hand, which we'll use in just a moment. When you're ready, we're going to pretend we've got boxing gloves on. And our first exercise, we're going to be doing some cross jabs, and we're going to be, if you can, hitting up to the ceiling. If you're restricted in your range of motion to reach above, you could stick with the cross jabs. So we're going to go through each exercise just once today, doing what you can, gradually building up the intensity. Nothing will last more than about 45 seconds. Some exercises will be counting to 10 repetitions. And we consider that one set of everything. So the first one, as I said, is boxing. When you're ready, imagine those boxing gloves on, hands protecting the chin. This is going to really work the arm and shoulder muscles. Try and zip up the tummy muscles. Keep some softness in those knees. And when you're ready, let's go. Bringing across the arms, Nice straight wrist and forearm. Maybe gradually building up a feeling of power. 8 more. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. For those that can we get up towards the ceiling? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going back to cross jabs. 8. Bit more power. 6, 4, 3, 2. One last lot. Up to the ceiling if possible. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We will leave those there. Shake out the wrists. Maybe give wrists a little circle. Take a deep breath. If you own an exercise band, do grab it. These TheraBands are great. They come in different colours, which are different resistances. Some light to medium resistance would be great. Or maybe you could hold some small weights for this one, or just pretend that you're holding a band. So standing or indeed seated would also work. We're going to do an exercise called pull-aparts to activate and fire up the muscles in your upper back. So nice light grip on the band or the weights, tummy in, open up the chest. We pull the band apart, keeping the elbows close to the body. And when the hands are out here, we're trying to pinch our shoulder blades together. And then release. And again, widen, pinch those shoulder blades together, release, keep going. Open the chest, try and wake up those back muscles, release. This is number 4 already. Breathe and release. Please don't hold your breath for any exercises. 5, release. 6, release. 7, release. 8, release. Couple more. You can even open up the arms a bit more. 9, last one. Maybe straight arms, make it harder. 3, 2, 1, release. And while we've got the band, reaching up overhead, it's called a lat pull down. We're going to try and keep a little bit of tension on the band. If you don't have a band, a broomstick works really well. Tuck in the tummy, tuck in the tailbone, so you've got a nice flat back. And we're going to keep that tension on the band as we bring our elbows down, bending the arms, and really focus on sliding the shoulder blades down your back, and then nice and smoothly come back up the way you came. So just smoothly moving down and up, all your awareness on those triangular shoulder blades. Imagining as you bring the band down, you're sliding them down into your back pockets. We're not going to do too many of these. Let's just do 2 more. One last one. Don't forget to breathe. And we can pop that band down. We're going to switch now to the lower body and do heel raises. So unless you've got really good balance, it would be great to have something to hold on to, maybe to one side of you or in front. And feet hip width apart, great posture. You simply roll up through the feet, lifting the heels as high as you can and rolling down. So we're going to try and use the whole width of the foot, lifting the heel as high as you can. And after a few more, you should start to feel those muscles in the calves, the lower legs starting to work. So we're mobilizing and strengthening our ankles, Achilles tendons, and the lower calf muscles. If this feels challenging enough, feel free to continue. This is number 5. We're going to do 10 in total with pulsing on the last one. Anyone that wants to make it more intense, we could either roll up with 2 feet, lift one away and roll down on one, or even try going up on one and down on one, but you need a lot of stability and strength to do that. So most of you are probably nearing our 10th one. So on the next one, I'd like you to join me, bring those heels nice and high. If you can, let's try and pulse up the heels. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Again, give those legs a shake, maybe circling the ankles, even on one leg if you want to try out your balance. Both sides. we're going to move on to our fourth exercise. Again, you may need some support on one side of you for balance. We're doing what I call tap backs, or I call it the milk bottle exercise. Imagine you're holding a carton of milk and we're going to try and put it down on the floor in front of us. So again, you could have one hand to one side for balance and we'll still be able to alternate legs. If you don't need to hold on, we can switch arms. So we're reaching back with the leg. So the leg that's working is the front one. It's having to support all of our body weight. So go nice and smooth. Try and keep everything tracking forwards. Legs like parallel lines, train tracks. Nice and smooth. The deeper you go, the harder it is. So yours might be a little bit more shallow. Just go with your strength and your level of balance. Maybe a total of 10 each side. So I'm going to estimate and do 4 more each side. 3 more. 2. Nice straight back. Breathe. 1. And take a break. Again, have a little shake, maybe have a sip of water. Slow and deepen your breath. Always take rest breaks whenever you need them. If you need to take long rest breaks, just pause the video and get back to it when you want, or maybe try half the video one day, half another day. Please don't feel you have to do all of this in one go straight through. Do listen to your body. So we're moving to a shoulder exercise. It works what we call external shoulder rotation. It just means we're working deep into those shoulder capsules. Again, a band would work well for this one. You don't have to have a band. You could do this imagining you have a band. So if you do have a band, you're standing with the band securely under one of your feet. In fact, I'm going to have it coming out so it doesn't pull across my foot. And then you hold it with the opposite hand and have that hand across your body in front of your hip bone. If you find your hip bone, that's where your thumb would be. Bring your body to a lovely upright posture, and we're going to draw that band a bit like a sword, coming out of the scabbard, out to the side, elbow in. So my hand finishes exactly to the side of my body. I'm trying to keep the resistance on the band the whole time. So my body's not moving, but you'll feel this working immediately, probably the back of the arms, the back of the shoulder. And as you take that hand to the side there, you'll feel it working round into your back muscles. And we're going to do 10 on one side, 10 on the other. Let's do 5 more. 5. Again, if you don't have a band, just imagine you're drawing against resistance there. 2 to go. 2. Breathe. And 1. Lovely. Switching to the other side. Swapping the leg that's on it. And the hand. Nice upright body. Finding that hip bone. And off we go. 1. Never locking out the knees. Keep a little bit of softness there. 2. Relax the face muscles. Keep breathing each one. 5. Great work. 6. 7. 8. 9. And that's your last one. And that one is done. Okay, last standing exercise for now. We're going to do a classic called a sit-down stand-up. Those of you that have ever done fitness tests, you may well have done this one. Often people do a test and see how many of these they can do in 30 seconds or a minute. So you need a nice stable chair, so maybe have a little sit, make sure it's nice and sturdy, obviously not got wheels. Feet are going to be hip width apart. If possible, we're not going to use the hands, so crossing the arms in front of the body, zip up those tummy muscles. We're going to hinge forward from the hip crease with a nice straight back until you're ready, you feel like you've almost got the weight onto your feet. Then you're ready to push the floor away and stand up nice and tall. And then nice and slowly ease the butt back until you sit down. And we're going to keep going. So join me when you're ready, and we're going to do 10. So sit down, stand ups. Hinge forward, nice strong push up. 1. 2. A little slower on the way down, a bit faster on the way up. 3. 4. Good. This would be one of the exercises that when you get used to managing all of them one time through, you might want to add in a second set of this one. It's a really good exercise for lower body muscular endurance. It works all the muscles in our thighs, our legs, our butt. If you get really good at this one, you can be really confident right into old age. You'll still be going up the stairs, getting up off the toilet. Really good one for functional fitness. I think it's 2 or 3 to go. I'm going to make the next one the last one though. Keep breathing. Power up. Lovely. And release. Take a little water break and have a think whether you're happy to do some exercises on a mat or lying on a towel on the floor. For those of you that find getting on the floor and back up again too challenging, or it just doesn't work, lying on your back, maybe for breathing reasons, I will describe, maybe if I have a chance, show you some alternative exercises as we go on. So, grab your mats or your towels. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exercises to go through on the mat. So when you're ready, you're going to lie on your back. You're welcome to have a cushion under your head. Just move around a little bit. So we'd have arms by your side, legs are bent, feet are about hip width apart. And the first one is to really activate and start to work the muscles in our abdomen, our deep abdominal muscles, as well as your six-pack and what's called transverse abdominals, the big skeletal muscles. So first of all, we need to find those muscles. So imagine you've got a donut on your tummy button and you're pulling it down towards your spine. We're also going to think about the pelvic floor and squeeze up gently the pelvic floor. And then imagine you're wearing a little weightlifter's belt and you're tightening it from back to front. So it creates a feeling of your torso being a bit firmer, a bit more compact. And if you can maintain that feeling from there, we're going to rest our feet on our heels and try lifting one, squeeze the tummy and lower. Lift and lower. If you feel you haven't got that strength, keep the back down, or you're not really connecting with the muscles, then maybe don't worry about the legs. Just practice contracting and releasing those abdominal muscles. Vice versa, if you feel like you've got good connection with those muscles and you want to make it a little bit more difficult, we'll start with our feet in the air, but legs are bent, what I call tabletop position, and then squeeze down the tummy as we gently lower one heel and bring it back up. Nice and slow. The slower you go, the harder it is. So whichever version you're doing, build up in stages, but you might be able to build up to doing between 10 and 15 each side. For now, I'm just going to do one more each side. And then carefully drop both feet, relax the muscles, and as you relax them, hopefully you can really feel that you were working those muscles. We're then going to roll onto our side. So sorry, I should have said for that last one, if you don't want to lie down, you could have done it sat up and then just lifting in a chair, lifting one leg and then the other. And similarly for this one, we're going to do some straight leg side raises. You could be standing and doing side leg raises to the side. If you're able to lie on your side, it does help the supporting hip a little bit. We're going to try and lengthen that leg really long out of the hip socket and then slowly do these raises up and down. So in your mind, partly thinking about elongating that leg that's working, trying not to touch it down in between each one, and keep the movement really smooth and slow. And hopefully you'll start to feel the muscles working at the side of the hip here, the side of the butt muscles. Don't let that hip roll back. We're trying to keep it, if anything, slightly forward, so we really feel the muscles here working. Let's do a few more, and when you reckon you've done about 10 to 12 of these, we're going to bring it up into the air like this. So join me when you're ready, holding it up there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then little pulses. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little circles. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yes, circle back. 5, 4, straight leg. 3, 2, 1, and down. And hopefully you're really feeling it now along here. Of course, we've got the other side to do, so you could flip over or swing your legs round. And we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. The bottom leg could be straight or bent, whatever's more comfortable for you. Equally, the head could rest on the arm or be propped up. And if you haven't started already, off we go. 8 more to make 10. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. This last one, so let's hold it up there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little pulses. 10, 9, 8, 7. You can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little tiny circles. Straight leg. 2, 1. Backwards. 5, 4. 10 would be a bit tough. 3, 2, 1, and drop the leg. And again, maybe give it a little bang if you're really feeling it there. And carefully come up to sitting. We're going to do what's called a modified plank. So I'll show you the standing version in a moment. If you're happy to have some pressure on the knees, make sure you've got a cushion or a mat under your knees. And we're going to bring ourselves down onto our forearms, slide the shoulders down the back, and gently squeeze up the tummy muscles. And we're just going to hold this position, trying to make your torso as compact as possible. So if that works for you, that would be what's called the modified plank, the kneeling version. We could do this against the wall with our forearms on a wall, or a little bit more challenging. Kitchen counter would be slightly easier. The lower you go, the harder it is, but you could do a full plank, but with your forearms maybe up on a kitchen counter or a back of a sofa, chair seat, something like this. But really making sure you've got that core strength to not let your back sag. So lovely straight back, and again, keeping those shoulder blades slid down the back. And you can maybe time yourself and see how long you could hold it. Starting maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and building up anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds or even a minute. If you're on the mat, stay there. We've got 2 more exercises to do. The next one is hip bridges. So this is going to really strengthen our butt muscles, our glutes. So lying on your back again, a bit like we did when we first came to the mat. Feet hip width apart. We're going to start with that little tummy tuck, pulling that imaginary donut down towards the spine. But this time really getting your lower back right down into the mat. You'll feel the pelvis tilt into that backward tilt. We're going to continue to lift the butt. It might just be an inch or 2. You might be able to lift it really high. Go with what feels okay for you and your back. But then squeeze the butt muscles really hard. Whether you're down here just off the mat, you can still squeeze them, or coming up as high as you can and squeezing them as hard as you can, and then slowly rolling down. Start everyone with that little tilt, bringing the lower back into the floor, lifting up so that you don't feel it in the lower back. You're doing great. Keep going. So whatever version you're doing, you might be able to build up to doing about 10 of these. So keep going. I'm just going to explain to people that after doing these for a while, have built up enough strength, you could even progress to doing a single leg version. You just stick one leg up in the air and it stays there, and you try and do exactly the same exercise on one leg. And obviously training both sides the same, so whatever number you would do on one side, you will do exactly the same on the other side. And when you've done the number you want to do, to finish off our work on the mat, we'll come onto our hands and knees and do some cats and cows. So again, if you don't want to kneel, you could be standing with your hands on a chair, which I'll show you in a minute. But once you're in position, either way, you're just going to work between lifting the middle of the back, dropping the head, squeezing up the tummy, and then dropping the waist and ribs, lifting the head slightly, maybe taking the hips back. So taking it to a nice fluid movement, breathing out as you round and arch the back like a cat, and then breathing in, dropping the waist, sliding the shoulders away from the ears. Keep going. Just to explain, if you don't want to kneel, you could do the same version, but on hands, on a chair and standing. Just trying to get some movement into those back muscles and just get used to really working the abdominal muscles. And when you've done maybe just 3 or 4 each direction, each way, then you can slowly come up off the mat. Please come up slowly, don't get dizzy. We're going to move the mat out of the way, and we're going to finish off with a couple more minutes of upper body exercises with our bands. So we've got last 3 exercises. We're going to do some work for shoulders and our back, and then just go into our little cool down. So I'll use weights for a change. They do work as well with a band. You could stand on the middle of the band and hold the ends of the band. So the next exercise is to strengthen your shoulders. Maybe arms bent. We're going to do what I call chicken wings. We're going to bring those elbows up to shoulder height and back down. This could be done sat in a chair if by now the legs are feeling a bit like jelly and you want to sit down for a bit. This works really well sat in an upright chair, feet flat on the floor, nice straight back. If you want to progress this one, we could add in a little rotation, keeping the elbows where they are. You're going to probably need some weights pretty light for this one. Again, things like cans of beans, bottles of soy sauce, whatever you've got in the kitchen cupboard, have a look. Might work well. And if you want an extra add-on, we could even add in, once you've rotated, a little press up to the ceiling, back down, and rotate to come back down. So the whole sequence would look like this. Breathe out if you can as you push up. And you're welcome to do that overhead press one arm at a time. We could rotate, press one arm, press the other arm, then rotate and come down. Great. As you hang on to the weights, we've got one more to do. We're going to do some sort of row. There's different ways of doing this. Those of you that don't have bands and just have weights, I'll show you from the side. Again, we could either do it seated with our legs in front of us and then hinging forward, or standing, hinging forward, stick the butt back, and just let those arms hang. Slide the shoulders down away from the ears and gently squeeze up the tummy. And then we're going to sweep the arms round. As soon as they've cleared the legs, we drift those elbows up very slightly back, pinch into those shoulder blades again, and just let them sweep back down. Keep going. I'm just going to show you from the front. It's our last resistance exercise today. We're going to go back to marching after this for our last exercise, but that's just as a little gentle cool down. So my hands are probably coming up either side of my hip bones. Trying to keep the shoulders down, so I'm sort of working round rather than letting the shoulders come up. And I'm trying to feel into my back muscles, my lats just below the shoulder blades, squeezing into them there. Not over gripping. Let's make this the last one. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Release. Slowly come up, pop those weights down. And then either going into a very easy march on the spot with a lovely arm swing, or just super gentle job on the spot. Just to bring the heart rate slowly down and act as a bit of a cool down. So if you feel like your heart rate and your breathing rate's up, just focusing now on recovery breaths, slowing and deepening the breathing, dropping any unnecessary tension in the body. And gradually bringing that back down, taking the feet hip width apart. We're going to take a lovely big breath in, sweep the arms up, enjoy a really big stretch up the back, and breathe out as we come down. One more time, breathing in, and out, and coming back up. Take the hands behind us. We're going to interlock the fingers. Ease the hands back and away from us, maybe slightly up. Release, same but in front, maybe curling the back slightly backwards, interlock the hands, reach the hands forwards, stretching the back of the shoulders. And release, and then maybe resting your hands to finish on the back of the chair. We're going to walk the hips back until the body's parallel to the floor. Keep the legs straight, but the knees are soft. Drift the hips back until you feel a stretch down the back of the legs. You might need to sort of a feeling of tilting the butt almost up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the back as well if you like while we're here. So stretching all the muscles down the back of the body and the back of the legs. Take a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, soften the legs before you come up, slowly, slowly walking the legs back and slowly coming up. And we're going to leave it there for today. So well done for finishing that workout today. I hope you enjoyed it. Do have a drink of water when you're ready, or keep sipping water over the day. If you would like some further support with your exercise, if you take a look at the Penny Brawn online group sessions page of our website, you'll see lots of different sessions and classes. On the movement side, I offer classes to build strength and stamina, to help people build back their strength after treatment and surgery. We do some work on flexibility in our stretch and relax class, and we have some brilliant other practitioners offering everything from Qigong to dance and yoga. You can also book in for some one-to-ones with me via the Penny Brawn booking service team by giving them a ring or an email. All our services do rely on funding from donations, so if you are in a position ever to make a donation to Penny Brawn, on our front page of our website you'll also see how to be able to do that, and that would be very much appreciated. So take care, have a great week, try and keep up some sort of routine for muscle strength at least twice a week if possible, and I hope to see you soon on one of my other classes. Thank you.